I think there will pop up a window on your screen that you agree to the recording. I hope it is working now. And yes, I see the recording is running right now. Okay.
Okay, perfect.
Perfect. Okay. If you have any questions during the presentation, so please raise your hands. And I hope when Rainer is not here that Phil can give me a hint, because I'm not sure if I can see it when I'm in the presentation mode. Is okay, Phil, for you?
Will do.
Okay. Perfect. Okay, so then I start with the presentation. Some short words to my person. I'm working for Swissatest, Test Materials. We are located in St. Gallen in Switzerland, and I'm responsible at Swissatest for the business development and also the standardization work. And for that, I'm a member of several groups in the TC59D. My professional background is I'm a textile specialist and paired with business management, and I'm also a member of the management board of Swissatest. So, coming to our today's topic, the Gentleness of Action testing. I took this nice overview. I have seen this in several webinars before, and I think it's really a good overview. Today, on the next slides, I would like to tell you something about the history of the Gentleness of Action, the structure, the properties of the material, and some facts and figures of the thread amount, preparation of the samples, the loading in the washing machine, the unloading, the counting, and also about the evaluation. In this overview, you can find it here under 3.8.58. And also for this presentation, we have prepared some short video sequences for better, and I would say also for a visual understanding of the whole process of the Gentleness of Action. And so sometimes in between the slides, I will show you some video sequences to show you in practice how this specimen and how the testing is done of the Gentleness of Action. Okay, so first of all, I would like to give you some history about the Gentleness of Action testings. And in the beginning, it was there was two systems being evaluated. One was the polka dot, and the other was the GoA, the fraying fabric, the Gentleness of Action fabric. And both of them, they worked well, but the polka dot caused the polka dot fabric, these blue dots. Who doesn't know it? They caused a lot of lost dots in the machine. And so you could find them everywhere in the machine. You could find them in the load, in the tubes, and so on. And this was quite disturbing for the testing, that you have to clean very well after the test the system. But for today, this material is under discussion for another test method for the microplastic in the laundry appliances. So the GoA fabric, the fraying fabric, was chosen for the assessment of the mechanical action in the home laundry appliances. Fabric uses a very well-known effect of the slipping of the thread in woven synthetic, and this is a very well-known effect in a textile, and it's because the synthetic fabrics are very often very smooth, and so the fibers start to slip, and this gives an effect of displaced thread. And it looks like a defect, but not the movement of a single thread is assessed, so not the defect of the slipping itself, but the loss of the threads of the specimen. The idea was first to use the fabric without any protection. The idea to use the fabric without the protection in the back worked, but it caused a lot of lost threads free floating around in the machine, a little bit similar like the polka dot. So there was done some tests, or many tests, to cover the GoA specimen in a bag, which is made anyway, used from the load, and this showed a good reproducibility inside the test. And the problem of the free floating around threads inside the load was solved with this. For this, then the GoA was tested already in a round robin, and this was performed in 2019 together with the cold wash round robin. And after that, the introduction of the test method to the standard IEC, to the 6th edition, has been made over the last year in the editorial team. So, as Rainer mentioned, the GoA testing, it is really a brand new test procedure and a new test material inside the IEC 6456 in the 6th edition. For that, it's really new. It's the first time that such kind of material and such test method is inside the standard. Some information about the fabric itself. It is made of a 100% polyamide, plain weave with an equal thread count in warp and in weft / filling. I will tell very often in this presentation about warp and weft, and please remember these two words. And I will try also to explain a couple of times what is meant with warp and what is meant with weft. Warp is always in length direction of the weaving fabric, and weft is the width direction. This is important later on for the evaluation. The yarn count is 17 threads per centimeter, so in warp and in weft. And the material is loom state and not treated. Loom state means directly from the weaving plant. It is taken. There is no additional finishing or no additional treatment made on this fabric. So it's directly from the loom or from the weaving machine taken away. We have three different colors of threads inside the fabric. First is the blue, and the blue thread, I hope you can see my cursor. The blue thread is marking the end marking of the specimen, and it shows these small blue squares, which mean these are 5 per 5 threads. Every blue square is 5 per 5 threads. 5 threads in warp and 5 threads in weft. Then we have the red marking, and this red square means 25 threads in warp direction and 25 threads in weft direction. And the yellow threads, they are for counting single thread, and this is the base for the fabric. So yellow is the set for counting the single threads. The width of the material when you receive it is about 170 centimeters and gives the space for 5 GoA swatches over the width, and 1 meter of material contains 15 GoA swatches. So 1 meter in length and 170 centimeters in width contains 15 GoA swatches. And for the shipment, the material gets folded and packed in a poly bag. Information about the construction and the fabric in general you can find in the Annex A of the standard. The specification of tracer textiles and ballast soil under 8.4 in detail specification of the thread removal specimen. Now I have also some direct information out of the standard. All these informations you can find really good inside the standard. Written in this, it's copied out from the CD2. Here see again the end marking thread, these blue ones. In filling means in weft 5 blue threads, and in warp also 5 blue threads. These have to be removed for the testing. And you see again what I told you before, every 5th thread in warp and filling direction is blue, and every 25th thread in warp and filling direction is red. Totally contains 499 threads, 29.5 centimeters length, and also yeah, these are the dimensions from the square, 9.5 centimeters. The weave is plain. It's the very easy way to weave. It's the easiest one. It's one warp, one weft, one warp, one weft. And the yarn count is 17 warp, as mentioned. Some information about the yarn. It's 228 D-Tex material. This means 10,000 meters are weighing 228 grams for one single filament. This is a quite heavy material. Normally you find much lighter materials in the industry. And one thread is made out of 35 single filaments. The material is polyamide 6.6 in details, and it's known under the brand nylon, and normally it's used for garments, for work and sportswear. And the weight is about 85 grams per square meter. As mentioned, the dimension 29.5 centimeters and 499 threads in warp and in weft. Now we dive a little bit deeper into the testing and the usage of the GoA material, and you find information about the gentleness of action of the testing. You find under point 8.7 in the CD2, and it describes the method of measuring the gentleness of action for washing machines to define the influence of the washing process on the washed items. For the assessment of the gentleness of action, the results from the test washing machine shall be compared with the results from the reference machine. So it's also a run in parallel. I think you heard this also before in other webinars, that's always a run in parallel. There are existing two ways to use the material or the specimen. One is as GoA A. Then the fabric is used without any cover. After preparing, you can use it directly by placing it inside the load, and this is only for the wool cleaning performance. All other tests, then it is named as GoA B, and then it is used in a load cover. Then it is covered and protected by a load item. The GoA, this important, is always assessed together with cleaning performance. The cleaning performance with or without GoA is not comparable. This means you cannot compare a test series where you use the GoA to another one where you didn't use the GoA. So you can always compare it with GoA or without GoA. The material and how it is arriving to you. So we ship the material to you folded in packages. And depending what kind of testing you do, we cut the right quantities from a roll. We fold it, and then it's put inside a poly bag. For the future, it is possible to purchase the material in 3 different ways. One is like you see it here on the pictures, that you order it running meters, 5 meters, 6 meters, whatever you need. We cut it, we fold it, and we pack it in these plastic bags. Another way is to buy it in rolls for big quantities, like, for example, 50 running meters full width of 170 centimeters. But then you need quite a lot of them, because 50 meters contain more than 700 specimens. Or, third possibility, you can also buy it already sewed in a pre-washed load item as GoA B. First of all, the material must be unpacked. And this is to do try to do it as careful as possible, that you don't start to move fabrics and not too much mechanical stress, to put mechanical stress on the fabric. Place the sample in a way that the warp, the length, and the width direction is always clear. Please take a place where you have enough space, and I can only suggest it's also very good if you are, depending on the meters, when you do it in 2 persons. It makes it much easier. And then you can start to cut out the blank swatches with a pair of scissors. Now, this is now the first video. The material arrives. Now the material arrives to you, and then you have to start to unfold the material. I hope the bandwidth is okay, that you can see how the material is unfolded. And now I stop for a moment for the weft and the warp direction. Here you can see the edge of the fabric, and this is very, very typical for the warp direction. There can see like small brushes on the edge of the material, and this gives you a clear indication that this is the warp direction. The weft direction is it's always a cut. Then start to cut out the material, and please try to stay inside the blue end marking thread. As you can see, it's not a big deal if you cut to the left or to the right, one out of them, but try to stay as good as possible in between these blue marking threads. And so the fabric does look like when it's cut it out. And for this is important, remember what is warp direction and remember what is weft direction, because when you turn it now for 90 degrees, you will never know again what is warp and what is weft. After cutting, the swatches, after cutting out the swatches from the full width material, you mark the warp direction in the center of the specimen, and there you have to use a washable and waterproof textile marker or a stamp. We did it once without waterproof edding, and at the end we couldn't identify the right direction after washing. And marking is necessary to ensure the identification of the weaving direction at the end for the counting. Remove the blue end marking thread carefully from all 4 sides of the specimen. And when, you can see here, and when they are removed, the specimen could be used in this form without cover for the wool performance testing as GoA A. sample. And for all other programs, the GoA specimen is covered in a load item, and then it is named GoA B. There is now coming the next video. Remember, write immediately when you cut it out, mark the warp direction. You see, it's very easy. Make only, you can do this very easily, mark. And then start to remove the blue end marking threads. This is to do very easy, and with a little bit of practice, you are also, it's done very quick. And this has to be done on all 4 sides. See? You can see, try, and always try to do it and not stress the fabric too much for the mechanics, that you don't start to move the single thread from the fabric. As mentioned, for the wool performance test, the GoA A sample can be used now in this state without any cover, and for all other tests, the GoA B specimen is used, and all they get covered in a load item. For cotton testing, it is a towel. For polycotton, it's placed in a sheet, and for synthetic blends, it is placed in a pillowcase. Have here a look in the CD2. There are nice pictures inside there how it is placed in a polycotton sheet, and also how it is placed in a pillowcase and folded then. In this presentation, I will show you only how it is placed in a cotton towel. It is recommended to use the youngest item of your test load, and for preparation, spread load item flat on a table. And as a next step, you have to place the GoA swatch on the half of the cover item and center it. And then you can close the load item and fold the towel to cover the GoA sample, the GoA swatch. After folding, GoA swatch is fully covered by the load, and here you have also to pay attention that you don't move it too much, that the sample inside the load, inside the towel, does not start to move and change position, that you, when you sew it, then that it is sewed together with the towel. Close the load item by sewing the 3 open sides with a sewing machine. Attention, don't sew the specimen to the load item, and take care that the sewed specimen or the load item does not get too much agitation and too much mechanical movement at this stage. I recommend really to keep the GoA samples separately until the machine gets loaded. Don't put it together with the other load items and fold it and then move it. We keep it always separately and put it then together with the rest of the load when the machine gets loaded. So here I can show you the next video. Spread it. You see it's a well-used towel what we took here, and then place it in the center. Close the load item or the towel. So that it is in between them, and then you can close the 3 open sides by sewing the towel on the 3 places. It's quite easy to do this, and yeah. And also here, one more, take care that there is not too much mechanical action when you sew it, or also after the sewing. So that's it. Looks easy. Okay. Next is the loading of the GoA swatch specimen inside the machine. And the information how to place the load in the machine you find in Annex H. And for the loading, the GoA B specimen has to be folded, and now it is covered from the towel, and it looks like the first picture you can see here below. For the loading, you have to fold the item again 2 times. Also, these pictures, they are out from the CD2. It's very well explained inside the CD2 how to fold the specimen and to place it in the washing machine. Follow the loading procedure in table H2, and here I have put an example, table H6. Start here below with pillowcase, and then you place the towels. It is meant there are 3 towels, and one of these towels is the GoA towel. Is the towel with the GoA specimen. For more details of the loading procedures, please also have a look to the webinar 2, which has already happened at the 12th of January from ago. Also video how we load the washing drum. Opened it up afterwards, but here you can see it's the first towel, and then you see it folded. This is the towel with the GoA, and here you see we place the GoA towel in the middle from 3. And here again, covered GoA, we place it in the middle of the 3 towels. And so on. So the machine is loaded. This is for an example, a 5 kg machine on the reference machine on the Vascator. And at the end, it looks like this. Okay. After that, you have to do the washing, depending on the plan or on the procedure you have to do. After the washing, remove the GoA A material, or when it is not in a cover, or the GoA B in the cover specimens carefully from the load. Attention also here, do not pull, stretch, or distort. Here's a remark to the GoA A sample, which is not covered with the load. Take also here care that you don't stress the fabric too much, the specimen, and after you remove the load from the drum, from the washing machine, remove all loose threads from the empty wash drum. Don't leave them in there. And all the rest, the drying, the counting, etc., is equal as for the GoA B with the cover. Then you have to remove the GoA B sample from the load cover. To open the cover, remove the sewing. You can do this when you know how to do it really easy with pulling on the sewing thread. You can use also a cutting tool or a pair of scissors. After removing, do this immediately. After removing the load cover, you have to put it back to the rest of the base load for the weighing. Don't wait 1 hour because the weight will not be okay anymore. So remove the GoA watch from the load, put it back for weighing the load for the RM series values. And then you can dry the GoA specimen by laying them flat. Do not tumble dry it, and take care that there is no further mechanical action. We placed it here on a cardboard, but you can place it also somewhere flat on the table and let it dry by air. Now I've shown a video different ways how to remove the threads and to bring out the GoA. Here is first by pulling the thread. When you start at the right place, you can easily pull the thread, and the seam is open very easy. This is sure the best way how to open the GoA, the towel, but it is not always the case that you find it, and so you can do it also on other ways. Like here we are using a cutting tool, and then you cut the seam, or you could also use scissors, but here you have to really pay attention that you don't cut a hole inside the load item, that you don't damage it in some ways. Also, it is not the smoothest or not the softest way to remove the GoA specimen from the towel, but it works also. And here you see a lot of loose threads and how the GoA sample lays in the towel, and then how it is placed on a cardboard for the drying. Place it gentle, don't put on it too much mechanical action. And then you can put it somewhere to dry. Yeah. Good. When the samples are dry, you have to remove the threads which don't have any direct contact to the swatch, and samples are assessed by counting the remaining number of threads. Safety reason, especially at the beginning, please take a picture with your smartphone, or you can also put it on the scanner. It will help at the beginning when you do it the first time or the first couple of times to make it sure that you can have a look then also later on. First, remove all threads with no direct contact to the remaining fabric. Here on this picture, you see this thread there's a small gap. I hope you can see there is a small gap between these threads which have direct contact and still lay very close together, and this one, and this has to be removed because there is a gap. It does not have any direct contact to the fabric anymore, to the remaining fabric. If a thread has a contact to more than 2 red squares, like you can see it here, it counts as remaining. Also, when the rest of the thread does not has contact anymore, this still counts as remaining, because more than 2 red squares, it has still contact. And if a thread has several contacts within 3 or more red squares, as you see it here, it also counts as remaining. Also, when you, in the first moment, may you think, oh, it has a gap, it has to be removed. No, because it has more than 3 red squares still contact to the remaining fabric. The removal of the fabric is almost the same, or it's also to do very easy. It goes very smooth, and with a little bit of practice, you will be able to do this also very fast after a couple of tries. So remove the threads as shown in the slide before. And you see here then, yeah. This is a work which needs some practice, but it works really easy. And when you have done this 2 or 3 times, it's really not a problem. And it will also give you some safety when you have done it a couple of times. You will get like a feeling for it. Okay, when is a thread still remaining, and when you can take it out. Good. So next is then, now we have a washed and prepared swatch, a specimen, and now we without any loose threads, and we can start with the counting. It's the next step. So full remaining squares marked by a red thread in what direction are counted first, and after the thread in warp, in length direction, you have to count all the threads in the filling direction. And 1 red square count is 25. Precise means the first yellow to the next thread. Normally, when you do the counting manually, you have to add one red thread in the first square, because when in the beginning the first red thread in the specimen would not be counted. But do not add this when you are using the evaluation sheet for the round robin. It's all in the formula. You don't have to do this. You have to add this one single red thread only when you do the manual counting. 1 blue square count is 5. Precise also the first yellow to the next blue. And thread count per square, red or blue, is equal in both directions. So the fabric is completely equal in warp and in weft. And also the thread count is equal. Now I have here an example of the manual counting of one specimen. Here you can see we have in warp 15 left red squares, means 15 per 25 threads, plus the 1 red thread from the beginning makes 376. 3 blue squares, 3 per 5, 15. 2 blue squares with 10. 4 yellow threads on the top and 2 yellow threads on the bottom of the fabric, makes a total of 408 threads remaining. In the filling, means in the left side, the same. Also pictures out of the CD2. It's very well explained there. 16 left red squares means 16 times for 25 plus 1. 2 blue on the left and on the right side. 2 yellow threads on the left side and 0 yellow threads on the right, makes a total of 423. So you have two numbers. One is in warp in length direction, and one is in filling in the width direction. And then you have to add these two numbers. Means 408 and the 423 makes 831 remaining threads in this business. Here you can see also 408 in warp, 423 makes a total of 831. Again, a video how to count. See, you can count the single red squares, mean 15 red squares for 25 plus 1, 376. Note the number. Count the blue squares on the top and the bottom of the specimen. Four, means 4 for 5, 20. And as last, count the remaining yellow threads, the single threads, and add it to 776 plus 20 plus 7 makes a total of 403 threads. This is when you're doing the manual counting. When you're using the evaluation sheet for the round robin, and I really highly recommend that you are using it for the round robin, this evaluation sheet, you don't have to add this one single thread to the counting because it's already inside the formula. You have to fill in only the amount of the red squares. In this case, it is 15 red squares. You have to add the 4 blue squares, 7 yellows. So place in here the numbers and the counting, the counting of the remaining threads, the sum is done automatically. The sheet is very useful, and it will help you to avoid counting errors. You can do it both for the moment to check when you would do the counting manually if you get the same figures as or the same numbers as when you are doing it in the round robin evaluation sheet. When you use the evaluation sheet, it is very easy. And again, fill in the amount of red squares, fill in the amount of the blue squares, the single yellow thread, and you do this in warp and in wave direction. And the numbers are calculated automatically. As you can see here in this screenshot, you do this in warp direction, you do it in wave, in filling direction, and at the end it will gives you the remaining thread sum. It will also give you an average and also a standard deviation. For more information about the evaluation sheet, please follow also the webinar, which is still coming, the webinar number 9, the round robin evaluation sheet. It will happen at the 7th of February. Good. More or less, this is it. Now I have some additional, or I hope so, more useful information. You can find also on YouTube an older video We have done this a couple of years ago. How to handle the GoA swatcher, the specimen. Please have a look to this. It is a very good sum up of the clips, what you have seen today, and sure also this presentation or this webinar from today will be available on YouTube. Then you can find it very easy under this address when you download then the presentation, or you can easily search in YouTube with the words Swissatest and 304, and then it will come immediately, and you can have a look on this video. Also, you can have further information. There is available a flyer of the GoA fabric with some results from the washing and how we tested it. This is available on the Swissatest webpage. Also here you can see the link, or you can send very easy an email with your question to us, to the info address, or also via your regional leader. You can send questions if you have some regarding the GoA swatch or the GoA specimen to our attention, and we will try to answer your questions. Yeah, so this is it for the presentation, and now I'm here for a lot of questions. What you maybe will have.
It's Phil Günter. Louisa has a question. I'll
Yes,
hand over
Louisa.
to her.
Hi there all.
Hi, Louisa.
Hi, how are you?
Fine. Better.
Good,
Getting better.
good. So I have a simple question
Yes.
about the GoA sample. How long should we leave in drying the GoA before evaluating?
Well, we leave it at minimum for one night. I would say after 8 or 10 hours, it should be dry. Depending on the conditions you have in your laboratory, we keep it close to our tumble dryers. There is the air nice, warm and dry. Then it is dried after 8, maximum 10 hours it is dried. It is a synthetic fiber. It does not absorb so much water. And with 8 or 10 hours in a dry ambient, you are sure on the right side. Yeah.
Okay, so overnight, yes.
Yeah, overnight, then you're sure that it's dry.
Okay, and should we be careful with light or, I don't know,
Yes.
dust, something like that?
Does not, well, the fabric itself, it does not need any special storage, but keep it away from direct sunlight. It is a polyamide fabric. Polyamide is not very resistant to UV, UV and sunlight, direct sunlight. It does not harm the function, but you will have a color fade when it is laid there behind a window where the sun is shining through, and you leave it there for, I would say, 1 or 2 weeks. You will have a color fade. Store it in a box or somewhere dark, but you don't need any special storage conditions like humidity or temperature.
Okay, thank you.
Welcome.
Thanks, Günter. That was very interesting and a very good question from Louisa.
Yeah.
I hope we may have some other questions or points of clarity. Does anyone have another question or a comment?
Yeah, Ralph here. I have no question, but a comment. A comment regarding the preparation of the samples, as you shown here for the towels. I think, yeah, I know many laboratories, and I know also the sewing machines, and most of them have sewing machines in standalone way. So, and you have here a sewing machine built in a table or a platform. So I would say I recommend to have this similar procedure, because especially for the preparation of the GoA's watches in the towels or then in the pillows, it is helpful to have it flat on the table. Thank you.
This is right, Ralph. Yeah, yeah. So I think I said it a couple of times. Please don't dress the fabric or too much that it don't start to lose threads already when you prepare it. Can I show you this again? You mean? I think we should see it now. You think such kind of sewing machine, Ralph, right?
Yes, that's right. Because if you have a standalone sewing machine, then you have only the area where you just sew in a flat area, and the other is hanging down. Yeah. So here it's all flat. So that is more better way also if you compare in a round robin test or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Okay. Any
Very
other
good point, Ralph. Thank you.
Thank you.
Do we have any further comments or questions, or any general point that we may not have covered, or even from any of the previous webinars? No.
Well,
Well
okay.
done, Guenter.
Thank you, Phil.
So in that case, I think we can finish. Last call.
Yes.
Anyone, please speak up if you have a point that is not clear, or we'll join in 2 days for the next webinar.
Yeah, the next
And I think,
webinar is
thank you,
on
Guenter.
Thursday. Yeah, it's
Yes.
Caroline, the wool performance. Also, yeah, join it. It will be very interesting. Also with a lot of videos. And yeah.
But the videos are very good, make it much clearer.
Yeah, I think it's a good way to show it, you know, in practice. And the video has not been done so it was Caroline and me which was performing it on the videos. So we were not 100% professionals. So you see, it is working also when you do it the first time.
You should get the Oscar.
Golden Globe is enough.
Okay, if
Okay.
there's nothing more, then I think we will close down. Last chance. Then thank you, everyone. And we'll meet again Thursday. Thank you, Guenter.
See you. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Thank you.
Bye
Bye.
bye. Thank you.
Bye bye.
Thank you. Bye. Bye.